How the heck are you guys? My name is Fastidious. Welcome to a video I've been looking forward to for like over a week now, I think. A collab with the fantastic IvyLee Gaming. If you want to say hi, Ivy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. And we're also going to have a really great video coming out on Ivy's channel, so don't miss out on that one. But right now, me and Ivy are each going to name our 5 heroes in the game that we think are the most free-to-play friendly, but not just free-to-play friendly, but you're actually going to want to use them. So worth building, worth using, worth implementing. And I think a lot of these, at least in my case, are going to be people even early on, you can just immediately plug and play. So really accessible heroes. And I think Ivy and I are really excited to just get right into that. So we've got a great Watcher of Realms video. And maybe without further ado, do you want to give the first hero, Ivy?
Sure. Yeah, this is always a fun topic because I feel like free-to-play players are always like, but you can't do things when you're free-to-play, but I don't have that hero, but I don't have that hero. But there's always a way around it, right? And
100%.
there's always people that are underrated that you're like, oh, I got them, but they didn't seem that great, but it's like, hold my beer. And I'm gonna start with my first hold my beer. And I'm gonna start with Wrath. He's become my latest obsession. He is so good. And you can't get any more free-to-play friendly than an epic lord who is 100% worth taking to 6-star, that we also get a free soul for and a free hero. So day 14 we get him for free, right? Like that's
100%.
It's so nice. With day 14 we get him, so he's pretty early on. And on day like 45 or whatever the hell this is, we get a soul stone for him to take him to Awaken 5. And I'm really preaching for anyone's roster that I see, oops, wrong one, that I see no Wrath built to go there. I'm like, just go Wrath, click your Awakenings, take him to Awaken 3 with those stones you got from Tide, and wait until the other stone comes, and then Awaken him 4 and Awaken him 5, and you will not regret it. He has changed my account. I love him.
Yeah, I think, so I'm on day 13 for my series in my account. So I get him tomorrow, and then yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, maybe you can introduce him to me very quickly, his skills, because I get him tomorrow. He's gonna be like a little prize I win.
So of course he's a epic lord, not a legendary, but hey, better than those damn crappy rare ones. And he's so good though. His lord bonus is really great because it increases attack speed, and with him you can cheese clan boss, guild boss, to where you put in 4 units to take advantage of this bonus. So you place Wrath, you place Demos, you place whoever, Baron, and you take them out. And you just leave in Wrath if he's the only one you're using. If you're lucky enough to get a Salazar, you leave him in there. Or whoever else, like Abomination. If you got any of those early, great. But you don't have to leave the heroes. You just deploy them and then recall them, and you still get that attack speed bonus on the heroes that stay in the battle. So it's
Do you have to recall them for the benefit, or can I leave my Dimos
If you actually have 4 people you want to use, great. But if you don't want to really use all 4 of them, but you want to take, like you could put people in, but you can 2 spots, are useless, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
You can actually just throw in a Baron, but then take him out immediately. Well, I put all 4 people in, and then I recall whatever ones I'm not really going to use. Just take advantage. Yeah. So that's huge alone.
Sure, I can use my Dimos still.
Oh yes, he'll be amazing with him for sure. That's an amazing pair. And the good thing is, speaking of Awakenings with Wrath I was talking about, Demos is another one that is awesome to fully take to Awaken 5. And Wrath has another awesome Awaken as well he has a self-heal here with his Awaken 5. But even only taking him to 3, it adds so much damage with this burning here as well. And guaranteed crit hits as well. His kit is just so good. He smacks.
So with that, Ivy, do you build him like not focusing crit at all?
No, you still want to build it. It's only yeah, but the good thing is he's easy to build because he starts off with 15% crit rate. So he's already got a little bit of crit built into his kit. You still want to go like 90, or I guess 75, 80 plus, for the sake of this. But absolutely, yeah, he surprises me in how hard he hits. He's my biggest DPS damage dealer with a bunch of legendaries in my team. He hit more than my friend Salazar. Like someone with a better account than me, my Wrath was doing more damage than his Salazar. I'm like, you might want to add Wrath to your roster because I'm tying you with your Salazar right there.
I think if that doesn't articulate how there are really amazing free-to-play heroes, like Ivy's got bomb account. So if she's still using him, he's legit.
Yeah, I have options. You know, I've been using Valk a lot for fighters. I got Abomination now. I got Volka now. I don't use Volka. I barely use Abomination. I'm using Wrath.
Crazy. Yeah, and just want to reiterate, like what with Ivy said, like you essentially get him Awaken 5 for free if you're willing to invest.
100% free to Awaken 5. Yep.
Because by the time you get to day 44, when you get the free Wrath Stone, you'll have done a lot of Tide. And if you're like what I'm doing right now, I'm saving up all those stones, which I bet you did something
exactly.
similar.
I saved until I knew I had enough.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's such a great hero to start with. He's I can't wait for tomorrow.
Who's yours? Who's your first on your list?
Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, you know what? Let's start with maybe my favorite champion in the game. Maybe basic, but I love Narvi.
Okay.
Maybe favorite in terms of just, I use her on almost every single team I run. So I'm free to play. I've had some nice pulls, but I don't have always these OP units that can do everything themselves. So the way I compensate is by deploying a bunch of units as fast as possible. And that's what Narvi enables.
Exactly.
So yeah, if you want to just, I guess key in on our ultimate and then we can do our passive.
Yeah.
But yeah, her ultimate here, she gives inspiration, which is like the attack bonus thing, kind of like with Dolores. But 2 random allies is cool. It used to be herself and the random ally, but that's just kind of gravy. What really matters is for a reasonably low cost once you skill her up, and I really suggest you skill her up, you're going to be able, so this is the passive now, but you're going to be able to click her ultimate, which unfortunately is manual, but you get a bunch of costs back, and then you also get an extra 3 additional costs every 18 seconds she's out. So a lot of times the way I use her, I have her like 2 stars of promotion, level 30, only leveled because I use her so much. She just got excess XP just by being on my teams. It's really funny. I haven't skilled her up once, like through XP raid rewards. But a lot of times I just hide her, like so no one can kill her, and she has nothing to do with the battle. And I'll just try to get like 1 or 2 ults off. I'll try to let it go for like 36 seconds, I guess, or like, what would that be, 54 seconds, 50, you know, just so we get a little cost. And then because I don't have the best DPS, all of a sudden I have like 3 DPS out when maybe I only would have had 1 or 2. And that compensates from the lack of, if you're free to play like me, or you're just beginning on and you haven't had the greatest pulls in the world, she makes it all work. You know, she's kind of like the grease in the engine that has powered me to progress, I think, pretty quickly. So I'm not joking. I use her in like at least 75% of my teams for like, it doesn't matter the content, because she's not really doing anything. She's just hiding and then saving the day.
Yeah, she's one I haven't built or used in anything yet because I got Dallin. So Dallin has
Dallin too.
Yeah, she has the 30 cost, 13 every 30 seconds. So I kind of had that in mind when I started that kind of a strategy, because Zealous was one of my first legendaries, and we know how expensive Zealous is to place. So if you have someone that has a high cost like Zealous, or the Osiren is a hero we're going to be getting for free in the event that's an epic. He's expensive too. Ajax, an amazing legendary, is expensive too. It's kind of like, if you don't have Dallin or Serene, or you want someone even easier to build, Narvi is the answer, right?
For sure. And I will say, like, I have Dallin. She was the first fighter I ever pulled.
Oh,
occasionally,
nice.
like in promotion for really cool. For melee attack, I will use both of them just because I need the melee units. But more often than not, I pick Narvi over Dallin just because she doesn't generate as much cost, maybe over 100 seconds. But in 18 seconds, she's getting her costs back. Plus, like, can you click on her ultimate really fast, actually, just so I can remember the exact number? So yeah, 8 cost. So like so what I do is I put her in rapidity gear. The stats do not matter. That gets her cost down to 9. So you leave her out for at least 18 seconds. And just in those 18 seconds, when you recall her, you get 5 back. Plus she generates 8 plus 3, right? So it's like 16 for the cost of like 4. So you're getting like a net 12 in 18 seconds.
That is great.
I do. Yeah,
it helps
Dallon's
earlier.
Really good. Exactly. So like there's definitely stages where I'm like scrambling and I'm like, wait, you know who would save the day? And it's she just makes it happen.
Yeah, I probably should consider trying that every once in a while. It could help.
I would say she probably has uses for even someone like you, IvyLee, but for sure at the beginning, if you're really just struggling, you haven't had those good pulls, or you're like me, maybe a lot of my good pulls and some of them not good are super high cost, like you're saying. So like you'd mentioned Osiren, like so for my gear raid 1 and then like my experience raid or gold raid, I run Osiren who's 25, Cratch who's 24. I know it's Cratch. and
those are
Nyx is
expensive.
22.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like
that's
20.
very expensive team you
So-
have.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice because I haven't had the
Yep.
best pulls, but Narvi's great. I really like her.
That's really good.
So who's next on your docket?
All right, I'll go with another epic on the list here. Let's scroll down to where we go in mages. All right, so Marri. She's someone
Oh, yeah.
I did not take advantage of at all at the beginning. And then I kind of saw what people were doing in Arena and I realized why. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll use Marri. So I finally promoted her. And I mean, I only took her to like 5-star. I didn't even need to do that. Or no, I don't even think I did. On the test server, I took her to 5-star. But on my real account, I only have her at 4-star, level 40 promoted. And I didn't even start skilling her, although I probably will for Arena eventually. But she's just so good to stall the enemies. She's got slow, she's got freeze, and that is incredible for the arena just to slow those enemies coming in that start attacking your crystal. Or honestly, what I actually found huge benefit with her with trying to make budget-friendly builds for now my test server content with the new heroes coming out, I've been throwing her into all the Gear Raid 1 battles because she just slows or freezes the enemies coming at the wall and it just stalls everything and it provides more time for everyone to start smashing, and I feel like she's sleeper OP in even Gear Raid 1, not just Arena.
100%. And also in Gear Raid 1, she puts up, with her freeze, she puts up the vulnerability as
Yep,
well.
here.
So as long as you're doing piercing or magic damage, yeah, she's awesome. And good time to plug, I have a guide coming out on her. I have a guide for her
nice.
coming on Sunday, so look out for that, y'all.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, Marri, it doesn't get better than free, just given to you on day 3, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I loved when I first started playing was how the simple, like the graphic side of it. Voltus, when you promoted him, he changed appearance.
I know.
And Marri did the same thing. I love that they change her hair color, although I kind of like her brunette. She's spicy, but it's fine.
I don't disagree. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a tease, right? Because like you get Voltus, you get Marri, and then do any other champions change?
No.
And I was like, this is so cool.
Oh,
All my
Calypso
champions-
changes color.
Ooh, okay. So all I gotta do is pull Calypso. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I will quickly say with Marri, what's really fun is I think you kind of touched on, and especially if you bring her to 5 stars, I brought her to 5 stars, is she's so easy to build. Like she has like decent HP and defense. You can usually kind of tuck her away anyway. And then you just like throw a bunch of rage regen, throw a bunch of attack speed, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. So just a straightforward champion that's gonna help you.
Yeah, I think after my play with her on the test server, I want to build her a little bit better to actually use her for real now. I'm really,
Gotcha.
really liking her.
Cool.
All right,
Okay.
who's next?
Great. Let's go to someone who I don't even think I need to talk much about. I just love. Let's go to the Watchguard and do Livian.
Oh, Defender. Where we go?
The Defender. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's the naked chick, as we call her.
Yeah, so don't look at this. This
La la la
This
la
is
la.
it this hits you out of nowhere
You're
when
like,
you summon her.
okay.
I didn't know we were doing that in this game. Okay, so I really love Livian. She's free to play in that you can just fuse her. Like she's a permanent fusion. She's an epic.
Yeah, let
But
me
on
go to-
top of that, if you want to go to the storyline quests,
So this is the
yeah.
fusion here, and you can fuse them as many times as you want. So
For
awakenings.
sure. So if you saw the little cinematic and you fell in love with her, you want to get her Awakening 5, you can just hop in there and fuse 6 copies. But also, Ivy, if you want to go storyline,
I don't have it anymore because I did it.
but just to
Oh,
articulate to people where it is, you have like the sub story quests.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
where, so it basically like tells you to make her. Like not explicitly, but it says like bring Cuke to 3 stars of promotion.
Oh, yeah, I already did.
Bring Rex to level 40, 4 stars of promotion, like this. So anyone new, you'll see it there. And at that point, you're left with all the fodder you need, all promoted. So it's basically,
It's
and then they say
true.
do, and then they say fuse a champion. So it's like, all right, let's do Livian.
'Cause
But
you
she's so good.
That's
Yeah, they hold your hand and they say everything but, okay, now go make a Livian. But she's so good. So like my main defender I use on my account is Baron, and her stats compare like really favorably to you have Baron too. He's the best. But that's for another video. But Livian compares like super well to him, and she's just so tanky. Like I really can't explain it. She's just, of my 3 defenders I use, she is my worst gear, but sometimes she's turning out to be one of the strongest. And I don't have so much to say. Like we can go over her ultimate and her passive really briefly, but like,
Yeah.
so there you can see upon if you go to the basic, I guess it was,
Stun,
uh,
yeah.
The stun is okay for some control, but upon receiving the shield, she gets a little heal. So you just put HP on her, and then the ultimate, I think you can level it up, but it increases the heal a little bit. Triggering attack can restore 1% more HP, but it doesn't sound like that much. But she just stays alive. Like I'm trying to remember what content even she dies in for me. So just don't overthink it, especially at the beginning. You're basically going to have to make Livian. And you're going to have a Rex. You start with a Rex. They tell you to promote all the people. Just make her. She's way better than Rex. Just bring her to 5 stars. Don't think about it. You don't have to skill her or anything, at least not early on. Just put her there, and she's beyond serviceable. And defenders are super important, and you might not have a Baron, right?
Yeah.
Or Laga or whatever, right?
Or so if they miss the Isolde fusion.
Like me, I started like 3/4 way through Isolde fusion, so I don't have Isolde. So get your Livian, and then maybe focus on this new event where you can get the special artifact and you get an extra block, and next thing you know, you have this goated, amazing defender, and it's the easiest thing in the world.
That's cool, because she's one I haven't played with either on the test server yet or on my real account. So all the fusion people I want to try to play with more on the test server for like friendly looking teams, so I'll definitely keep her in mind.
Yeah, she's great.
Awesome. Ooh, all right.
What do you got?
So my turn. All right, what we got? Which one next? You know what? Let's go with this guy.
Okay.
He might be on your list too. Is he on your list?
I knew you would do him, so I didn't do him.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, good. Yeah, I had to go with Decimus. This is one that I think I noticed my bucket calling out very early on when I first started paying attention to the game and trying to learn some basic stuffs. Just of his little trick here is his passive. Like, he doesn't die. When his HP drops to 0, he remains alive and continues fighting for 6 seconds. So in something like Gear Raid 2, when you get the roly-poly boulders coming at you, he can just absorb that, take the hit, you can despawn him, get some cost back, and then when they roll to the next person, they're dead. So it's kind of a really fun way to cheese Gear Raid 2, and I see people doing that into the high levels.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Like, the only reason I left him out is because he's so good that I knew, okay, let me find someone that she's not. He's so cool. He makes me wonder. I only use him in Gear Raid 2 right now, but
Same.
I can't imagine he wouldn't be helpful somewhere else. I mean, Gear Raid 2 alone makes him awesome, but because he also has a really quick redeploy, which is so cool.
His base stats are terrible, though. I don't think you'd be able to keep him alive and like. Besides the fact that he does that thing, but like you wouldn't. I don't know that he's really practical for most other content.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think he would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of buy you time. But I wonder if there's more content, or maybe when they have like special stages that come out, like that, what's going to happen for the Captain Reeve event and stuff. Maybe we'll encounter things. So he's also like Ivy said, he doesn't need any stats, right? Because he's just gonna like maybe
just
put him in rapidity, so it's a little cheaper to deploy him. But he's gonna die. The thing is, it might take a second because of his delay, and that's all you need.
Yeah, you know, actually, I wonder. No, I was thinking if he might be good for one of the weird, quirky Void Rift stuff, where like the boss only kills who's right in front of him, but he wouldn't be helping any. He would just be sitting there. So I guess not. But yeah, you're right. There's got to be some other quirky things we're not thinking of that are maybe a little less obvious that you could probably cheese.
Yeah, you guys can let us know. He's like the ultimate stall champion.
Yes. Where else do you guys use Decimus? Any other fun cheese strategies besides Gear Raid 2?
Amazing. All right, shall I do my next?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another really straightforward one. Let's kind of do the baby version of Marri. So if you want to go to Marksman, we can check out Elukas. He's basically the same idea. And I got Marri like all of us get at day 3, right? And I still have used Elukas, especially those first couple days. So basically the only thing I really care about is his A1. He has a kind of cool ultimate where he can
he could slow.
Yeah, he can do some extra slow and stuff, but he gets the slow already on his A1. So like on his basic, so you just put attack speed on him and get him to slow people as much as possible, and you can usually tuck him away somewhere so no one hits him, or like I think I brought him to like level 25 or something and put like my worst gear on him just so he wasn't like literally made of glass. But you don't have to build him at all. I would recommend if you want to use him along with Marri, you can put skills into him, but you don't have to. And for me, he's just like, a lot of times you have 8, maybe if you're using 9, maybe he's using Narvi, 9 heroes that you'll bring, and then you have an extra spot. So I just bring him to like okay, who's someone I can just like deploy at the very end just to make sure they can't get through. And I just drop him and he just slows people down and it really helps. So that's actually how I beat on day 3 or day 4, I cleared 3 of the 4 promotion raids, 15. And
yeah.
Elukas is how I did 2 of them. So I beat Marksman 15 and Mages 15 using Elukas.
I like
Barely doing
that.
anything. Just slowing you down just enough so I could get that much more damage before they got through the portal. And then you 3-start it. And then, of course, you get the dominance. And then it's easy on from there.
That's actually really funny because he kind of goes along with the other goblin. That I remember when I first started playing, it was Elukas and Cuke, right? And people were telling me different things, like, "Oh yeah, use the goblin, he's good." I'm like, "Which one?" So I summoned. I remember I summoned Elukas and I locked him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's the one that's really good, right?" Oops, as I go off of it. Like, yeah, he's great, right? I should save him. And they're like, "No, the other goblin." So I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, I didn't even like look at him again for a while. And then I was like, "Why did I save him?" I'm like, you know what? He actually sounds pretty good. But I personally never ended up using him. And I think it's really funny. People talk about, "Oh, the goblin's great. Everyone should use the goblin." But there's kind of 2. And
So let's talk about the other one then.
yeah, this is good. This is the other one we got to talk about. So during my collab with my bucket, we actually went into Artifact Raid 12, which Artifact Material Raid AMR, and I was stuck there for the sake of those hero quests. And in that one, there's 2 pedestals, right? You can put 1 healer and 1 DPS, and then have your fighters and your defenders around. And we brought him in as the DPS with nothing but attack speed as the care. Nothing else mattered. And yeah, he did as much damage as the main DPS did with his poison. So he's all about that poison. In this game, poison's huge against the big bosses, like the Salazar boss for Artifact Material Raid. And he's not the only one. There is an uncommon, which I've heard some people actually prefer the, not him. Where is he? He's, not a goblin. As my game, it lags. Circle.
This is news to me. I'm very interested.
Oh, no, him. This one. This goblin. He is a goblin. So, Screef is another one that can kind of do the same strategy as Cuke. And I've heard some people like him better because it's quicker to get more poisons out. And he's got it on his ultimate and his basic here too. But yeah, you can totally cheese some of the boss fights, at least, where there's a ton of HP, because poison scales by the target's max HP. So if it's a bot, and you can also build them up. I guess he's the honorable mention, but Cuke's really the main one. If you really build a Cuke, like proper, like at least level 50, I should say, he'll carry you and your guild boss early on, because the poisons are gonna do a ton of damage. Just like Raid Shadow Legends, poisons, HP burn, it kind of ties in there.
He's kind of like the frozen banshee of this game.
Yeah.
I have Cuke. I haven't used him, but I'm planning when the event to level up heroes, the corridor, starts tomorrow. I'm planning to bring him to at least 40 to try him out on the guild boss. So
okay, yeah. So if you didn't need him for guild boss, I'd say you don't even have to. He was level 1. Never touched nothing when I did the cheese strategy for Artifact Material Raid. But of course, if you want him to survive guild boss, he has to have a little bit of sustain.
Of course. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I think I'm gonna save my maybe most interesting for last. So let's do one of the Pokemon. So let's start with Brienne.
Oh, right here, Brienne?
Yeah, Brienne. So I guess theoretically you might not get her because it's a bit random. However, I think a lot of us, she's only an epic, and a lot of us do end up with her. Like, we have the 4 Pokemon marksmen you might end up with.
That's
scripted
true.
Summons.
You're right. The beginning.
Yeah, so on the first account I tried out, I did pull her, and then on the second account, she was my Pokemon summons, like the starter. But now that I've kind of, at the beginning, she was my DPS, right? She was the only epic damage dealer I had on my account. So she was my first one to 40, she was my first one to 50, and then I started pulling people. But now that I do have a bit more DPS, I get to use her, I think, the way she's intended. So I think she kind of is so great for free to play in 2 ways. One, you get her, she's epic, she has higher stats than your bad champions, so she can just put out damage. But she's really designed to hit aerial units. So later on in the game, when you're up against things like Marksman, Promotion Raid, and then for sure in Gear Raid 3, she like really shines. Even, I mean, I'm not late game at all, but as I'm getting maybe closer to the mid game, she's still as good as it gets for Gear Raid 3 for me. If you click on her basic, IvyLee,
Yeah, that's got the
she'll do
prioritize.
and an extra hit, right, against airborne units. That's like 200% damage on your basic, and she's got a pretty good attack interval too. That's like really cool. So you can totally build her with a little attack speed if you want, or just straight out and out attack. And then if you go to her ultimate, she's just kind of similar to Theo in this way that like she's a single target but a bit of AoE, and she gets that as well with 120% AoE up to 5 units on her multi-shot ultimate. So when you have all those things running at you, like especially for me in Gear Raid 3, for how literally easy it was to get her, if you do get her as like your starter Pokemon, I just think, yeah, she's very straightforward, but she's great. And I can't imagine retiring her unless I start getting really good marksman pulls, which I have not. Shout out to Cratch.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get her till it was too late. By the time I got her, I already had Cetrum and Calypso, and I was already using Theowin, and I like by that point I was like, I'm definitely gonna build Maul over her personally. So I kind of, by the time I got her, I think I already had too many people in the works that I don't know that I would have a spot for her now.
100%, yeah.
If you get her early, she's a good pick for sure. She's better than my first.
Oh yeah, Tazira that's the worst. If there ever was a reason to reroll, I think it's Tazira. But yeah, I mean, maybe you wanted Tariel, because I think Tariel might be like the strongest of the marksmen. But if you're like me and you didn't get her, don't be like upset with Brienne or something, because her utility in things with straight up airborne units like Gear Raid 3 or something, it won't go away. It will last for a long time. Like maybe when you have the marksman IvyLee has, then maybe you don't need to worry about her anymore. But at the beginning into the middle, I think no question, she's like super serviceable in a lot of that kind of content.
I like it.
So who's your last one?
Okay, I have to go with the girl. She's the ultimate free to play because it's the longer game one is for some people if you play pretty lightly. But at the end of the day, it's still a 100% free legendary. And it's not like Abomination where you're like, oh yeah, he's free. No, he's not. You still gotta pull those epics except for Komodo. He's not free, don't count. But she genuinely is. You just have to push through content and get there. I have her already. She's amazing. She looks amazing. Now, personally...
This might be my favorite design. I haven't checked her on the alley.
Gorgeous.
This is incredible.
Isn't it insane?
Wow. Amazing.
It's really beautiful. Now, I wouldn't say she's the best fighter in the world, but you can certainly use her for her utility. She kind of brings that the extra damage taken, almost like the physical and magic vulnerability. She has this damage reduction as well against bosses, so she's kind of like the clan boss, decreased defense and decreased attack. And she provides a life steal as well.
Is she amazing against Guild Boss? She looks like she'd be amazing.
She's more of like a support against Guild Boss. Like, I don't know that she's going to pump out the best damage, but having her in your team with the decreased attack type and sort of a decreased defense type thing here, and the life steal type idea of just adding extra or restoring allies' HP is really helpful too. That's huge, but people really love her. For another free but a long haul thing that is finally going to happen for me tomorrow, her Awaken 1, allies revival time minus 25%.
I'm learning stuff. That is nutty. So you don't even have to use it. She could just be on your bench and...
Yeah. I mean, well, I think... Yeah, that's true. Is that actually that just... I don't... Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so, because it seems like that's just part of like the faction bonus type thing. But maybe maybe she has to be deployed. I actually don't know. I haven't got it yet. I haven't even thought about it yet. But I won't
that's probably super powerful in Guild Boss. Like, let's say you have like Wrath, like you were talking about earlier, and like everyone gets wiped but him. Now it's like only 25% less time to get out. That's so cool.
Very true. Yeah, that's actually the member I was talking about. Oh yeah, my friend was using Salazar and my Wrath was doing as much damage. I was like, take out Volka and put in Wrath. He's like, I can't. She's too important for other roles. So like, she definitely has value. And then on wave 105 here of Tide, we get a Soulstone for her. So we get that Awakening 1 also for free. And yeah, Tide is one of those little asterisks, I might as well say right here while we're talking about getting this. This is one of the only, I think it's the only area in the game where if you don't have the suggested BP, if this current BP is in the red, it will not let you win. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I did not. I didn't even know Tide was anything but a random BP check until people were like, no, wait till you get to like 90 or 100. It will be hard.
Yeah, it actually, it's just all BP, and you're right, but you get a lot of BP once you start adding some of these damage things. Like I started adding some of these and the BP shot right up. Yesterday, I was 80,000 BP under. I can't just make that up instantly. 8,000, sure. 80,000, no. All I did was add 2 talents, and now I'm good enough to do it tomorrow. So just one day of being stuck. Actually, 2 days I was stuck with Tide where I had to do the onslaught, and then I couldn't progress. But 2 days of being stuck already got me ahead just by collecting the bonuses and improving my talents and moving on. So tomorrow, I hope, I don't know, maybe I can only do 1 more. But in a day or 2 at least, I should have the Soul Stone for Volka.
Okay, congrats. Yeah, that's really good to know. Because right now, for me, tomorrow I'll be able to continue with my story quest because my story quest right now is due Tide 40, and it's only been 13 days. But it's good to know that because right now it's so mindless. It's good to know that
it's very easy to start with.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Well, it's still mindless. There is no strategy. You just if you have the BP, you win. If you don't have the BP, you don't win.
It's just, do you check the box?
It's a BP check, yeah.
Great. Well, Volka looks amazing, and she quite literally looks amazing too. That's so cool. Okay, time for a less thrilling champion, but someone who I needed and really helps me. If you go to healers, actually, I don't use her as a healer, but we have the rare champion Autumn, with the red hat there, or red hair, I guess. So Autumn is this game I think needs an extra classification for they call it Marri's a mage and Autumn's a healer, but these are really like support units or like spammer units where they're like helping you. Like helper units is what I've called them in a few videos. So she has an attack-based heal on her basic. You do not care at all about her. You don't care about her stats, anything. As long as she's alive, you just want her rage regen, because her ultimate and passive, it's so strange. I don't know if you've ever checked her out, but her passive is literally just saying, when her ultimate happens, this happens. Like, why can't that just be her ultimate does both of those things? Like, it makes no sense. I guess this way you have to level 2 things, so you use more skill dust. But essentially, if you click on Gold Maple's boon, that's the name of it. So it says plus 30%, but once you skill it up, it's plus 60% crit damage for everyone within range. She's a very interesting, it's like a diamond is her range. It might look like a square there, but it's like 3 in front, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, 3 to the back, and then 2 everywhere else. But so that gives you 60% crit damage, and it's pretty easy to get it on a bunch of your units, especially where I use her, which I'll say in a sec. And then whenever that's up, essentially another part of the ultimate, if you click on the passive, is whenever Gold Maple boons up, you get a crit rate increase. And once you skill that up, it says 10% there, but you can see it goes all the way up to 30.
That's crazy.
So it's really crazy. And then you just put as much rage regen as possible, make sure to skill her up, and then just time it. Like, I time it whenever my Amani or my Nyx are about to use their ultimates. I make sure she's out there. So the main place I use her is gear raid 1. But if you're like me and I don't have very good AoE damage, I have Nyx, who's pretty good, and I have Cratch, who is a little less than pretty good. That's really it for me. And then I use a Siren, but I don't have Iona, right? I'm free to play. The only reason I even beat stage 10, to start getting not red gear, yellow gear, the legendary gear, was because of her. Because she's able to take I only have a couple built champions right now, so my 2 6-stars, she's the one that can push them over the edge so they're putting out proper damage. Because I think for a lot of us at the beginning, we're not really worrying about crit and crit damage. She's so cool and so easy, and I don't think you noticed this yet. Her cost 5.
That's crazy. It's just like Dolores as a little support booster.
Yeah, she's like baby Dolores kind of, but like I don't have Dolores.
Yeah, but the crit.
Yeah, so like different in Dolores and what she does, but basically she's just a booster and she's so cheap and it's so easy. That's it. Throw in rapidity. She's 4 cost.
I like it. All right, and there's probably a few honorable mentions that we could have mentioned too, but hey, we just did a top 10. You can only include so many. So I think, what do you think here?
Fire. Let's do Lightlock, which Ivy suggested, who honestly, we didn't even think of him because he's so obvious. But if anyone hasn't seen, he does beyond work in Gear Raid 1. And aside from that, he's a free-to-play fusion epic healer. So you're going to go from Camille to Lightlock. It's going to be amazing. Just to power through. I don't think we need to pull him up. We got Voltus. He's literally your first champion. He's your Pikachu. Is he amazing? No. Does he have surprisingly high base attack? Yes. And does he put out good AoE mage damage? Yes. So kind of just a no-brainer. At least to 44-star promotion, you have to do it. I promise. Even if you're a whale. And then if you're desperate, 5 stars. And then finally, oh boy, who was last one? Komodo. There we go. Yeah, so Komodo, he's also free to play. He's a fusion. Maybe he doesn't seem like the coolest thing ever, but on his ultimate, he puts out a bleed, which is just dot damage. And there aren't so many bleed champions. You probably don't have a Salazar. He puts the bleed out super reliably. And when it comes to something like Guild Boss, which is where he specializes, dot damage, damage over time, that's what it's all about.
And one of the trends seems to be when you get those first shards for the flawless meteorite from artifact raid material, like especially if you bought the battle pass and you got the paid ones, everyone seems to get Scarlet Hunt. It's a thing. So that
really?
Mythic artifact, that's one of the best if you have a bleed hero in your team. He can maybe be that bleed hero to help enable him or another hero like Wrath do more damage.
Amazing.
So this is actually really funny because it's like, for our next topic of free-to-play versus pay-to-win, you as a free-to-play player have had to make different decisions than I have. And all of your heroes were completely almost all, were completely different than ones I've even used. I haven't even looked at some of these because I didn't need to, because I progressed a bit faster, because I summoned some of those big key heroes. So it's actually a really fun kind of perspective as well, to see what you do when you're kind of forced to get creative versus
100%.
Getting lucky sometimes.
You know what, IvyLee? I think I gotta thank you for that alley-oop, because I think that is the perfect transition to wrap up this video and tease Ivy's video, which will be out on her channel at the exact same time. So I'm sure I'm carting up to it right now. But we're gonna just kind of contrast what it's like being a free-to-play in this game versus pay-to-win, and then I think we'll zoom out towards the end of the video and reflect. We've both played a ton of gacha for many years now, just reflect on the whole thing in general. So hopefully you really enjoyed having IvyLee here on the channel. I know I absolutely did. Thank you so much, Ivy.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Fastidious.